So let's talk about these efforts and whether or not there might be some major changes in what these pro-democracy groups are capable of accomplishing and what this could mean. Let's go now to Robert Naiman. He's director at Just Foreign Policy. Hey there, Robert. I know this is a subject you're pretty familiar with. And some of these groups, to name a few, the International Republican Institute, the National Democratic Institute, the National Endowment for Democracy, these are groups that do a lot to stir the pot internationally in favor of the U.S. government, even if it doesn't favor the majority of the people in these countries. What do you think is the most important thing that people in the U.S. should know about these groups?
Well, first of all, that when they're described in the media as democracy promotion organizations, that covers up a lot of dirty history. The International Republican Institute was involved in helped organize really the coup in Haiti. That's not promoting democracy. The head of the International Republican Institute praised the coup in Venezuela. That's not promoting democracy. The National Democratic Institute and the International Republican Institute went to Honduras in 2009, legitimated an election which took place under the coup regime, an election which the Organization of American States refused to send observers to, legitimated that election in order to allow the U.S. to support the successor government to the coup regime, with consequences for Honduras that we still see today in terms of the level of violence there that is a direct result of the collapse of the political system produced by the coup. So to call these organizations democracy promotion covers up a lot of dirty history. That's just the history that we know, where we sort of got the smoking gun, where they were caught doing the opposite of promoting democracy. Now, that is not to say that, the Egyptian government, for example, should be cheered for its crackdown that it's engaged in now, which is a crackdown not just against these U.S. finance groups, but also against Egyptian NGOs. But it does say that we should all view with skepticism, extreme skepticism, the claims that these U.S.-funded organizations are, quote-unquote, promoting democracy. And we should understand the opposition, that some of the opposition to these groups is legitimate, and some of the suspicion is legitimate, and people should really question whether in a place like Egypt, for example, where there's so much suspicion of the United States, justified suspicion because of the last 30 years of
but what do you think? That's what I was going to say, Robert. This suspicion has been going on for decades. What do you think is different about this incident now? Do you think that some of these people that are kind of seeking refuge as we speak in the U.S. Embassy in Cairo, do you think they did something that really made people mad this time, or is there just sort of a shift in how Egyptian authorities are dealing with them?
No, I think, of course, I don't know exactly what these organizations did, but judging from press reports, it looks to me like the Egyptian military is picking on these organizations for cynical purposes. Namely, the Egyptian military regime is trying to tar the democracy and human rights NGO community as an agent of foreign powers, in particular the United States. At the same time that the Egyptian military is receiving $1.3 billion of U.S. military aid a year, and that is understood by the Egyptian military as the price of the peace treaty with Israel and security cooperation with the United States. So this is really a case of the pot calling the kettle black for the Egyptian military, which has been bought for $1.3 billion, to complain about, these small NGOs getting money from the United States.